Yeah, I am back. Hola. I'm in the back of my car, as always. It's the best recording studio I know. And this is my return to the podcast. It's been since May, so June, July, August, September. So it's been nearly 5 months, probably 5 months by now. Which is crazy because I still remember releasing the last episode. So, time goes really fast apparently. Runs away from you like a little rat. But I'm here, don't worry. And I have so much to tell you about. It's insane. I struggle keeping up with my own life when I'm telling other people, because there's some people that I have very erratic contact with, and every time I do have contact with them, it's like, oh, I have to retell my whole life story now. Oh, I've actually considered just putting it into bullet points and just copy-pasting it, keeping a log of what I've done, because life's crazy, man. But I'm back. I had a break because I was in Mullumbimby with Bella, and then we went our separate ways, and I came back home, and everything was cray-cray, and then bad stuff happened, good stuff happened, all relative, obviously, and it's just been a ride, absolute ride, but it's re-energized me, and as I'll talk about over the next, let's take a guess, 38 minutes, it's given me a new reason to do the podcast, because I enjoyed it, but I absolutely despised editing it, so it was really hard to stay with it for long periods of time. But now I'm going fully editless. I'm just gonna upload it to Spotify for podcasters, add a background song, and hope for the best. Oh, but I'm gonna have to add multiple. It's fine. I think I can manage 5 minutes of editing. It's not 4 hours, so it's all good. But I'm back, and I've decided that between my little topics that I want to talk about, I'll give you a quote as a segue into it. And did you know, segue is spelt Segue? Absolutely not what I thought. I always thought the segues as in, the little... Oh, actually, no, segues are the ones with the handlebars and the two wheels, and you see them at resorts and people just flying around. And I think that's spelt Segway, but anyway. Here is a quote from Peter Drucker, and it is, "The best way to predict the future is to create it." So instead of sitting back... Oh, sorry, the quote's over, by the way, I'm not plagiarizing anymore. But instead of sitting back and letting life just take you for a ride, the way to guarantee the outcome you want is by giving it your all. And your all isn't always going towards a single project. If you want to have a work-life balance and you want to get a promotion, then you don't want to give everything towards the promotion, because then you're not doing a work-life balance. So, living intentionally is what I get from that, and I've heard that phrase a lot lately, and it's awesome. I didn't really think of it off the top of my head. I had to have someone tell me the other day, but speaking and thinking and being intentionally, making the choices consciously instead of just riding the waves like a zombie, I think that's very important. And this brings me to my first thing, which is the Poppyfield project. Now, this is a doozy, absolute doozy, and it's my big project that I'm working on at the moment, and probably for the next 5 to 10, 15, 20 years, and it's an eco-hub. I'll just say it. I said it. Straight up. It is a sustainable, renewably powered community property, and I wanted to build it on the Sunshine Coast because Sunshine Coast on top, and there's properties that I have in mind, but they are just massive spaces of land close to the Sunshine Coast, which means they're worth hundreds of millions of dollars. So, unless one of you has some money to donate, I don't know. I don't think that's happening just through my own pocket. So, I have a plan, but the values behind the poppy field. Yeah, okay. So, I want that to be workspaces for other non-profit organisations. And I want this to be like a free or very cheap place for non-profits like Coexist, shout out to Coexist obviously, to work and have somewhere to base themselves, because these organisations, they're awesome and they're grassroots, a lot of them, but having somewhere to base their activities and have a central place to communicate and collaborate, especially with other organisations and communities, I think is really important. Obviously, like, it's up to them. If they don't want to do it, that's completely fine. It's just having it there for them if they do. And obviously Coexist isn't the only non-profit group on the sunny coast. I'm not that silly, but they're one that I'm heavily involved with, so I just think of them first whenever I think of it. But yeah, so workspaces for environmental and social conservation groups, and I want a residential area. So that's normally what you think of when you think of an eco-village, which is what I was originally calling it. And the residential area will have, obviously, houses and dwellings. The types of them will vary massively. It'll go from like shipping containers to wood lodges, whatever the people want to build. And I want to create an actual community that lives there and contributes to the property, and in return is provided for with food, drinking, water, obviously, housing, like very cheap housing, because the cost of housing, probably all over the world, but especially in Australia and especially on the Sunshine Coast, is mind-blowing. It's $450 for a 2-bedroom place at the moment, which is $250 a week, that is. Oh, sorry, $450 for a 2-bedroom place per week. That is just, like, I could not sustain that for a long time. And as well as those, I want to have an ecotourism centre. So a big part of convincing the council and the government, both state and federal, to endorse and even provide for this project is it has to return something to the communities and to the region that it's in. And what do people like more than money? So obviously that's not why I'm doing it. I actually wanted it to be a non-profit business, company. But you do have to make a profit, because you do have to expand and you have to be sustainable, and especially something like an eco-hub where there are so many avenues for resources to go down the drain within seconds. You need to be making money somehow, which I'll get to. But a big part of this will be ecotourism, so it'll be a significant attraction, especially on the Sunshine Coast. I want the whole project to be integral to the Sunshine Coast experience, because this place is awesome and it deserves to have a lot. I don't know about a lot of people. I think we can keep the same population, that'd be nice. But ecotourism, so that'll include short-term accommodation, educational sessions and workshops. I haven't actually thought too much about exactly what to do, but yeah, I guess it's just the experience. There'll be events on, you'll be able to mingle with the people that work there, you'll be able to help out if you want to. You can, it's like going to the Hare Krishna farms, but a bit more, and a bit more in society and involved. But we'll have that, and then we'll have community kitchens and gardens for the residents to contribute to and eat at and from, and that'll be awesome, because I want a community so bad of people who are living intentionally, as I spoke about before. So that'll be awesome. And then there'll be obviously farmland where we'll grow seasonal crops and year-round crops and fruit trees and blah blah blah. It'll be awesome. And obviously then there'll be an admin place for the Poppyfield project. And the Poppyfield project is not its final name. It's a community project, so it's going to grow and it's going to evolve and become whatever it wants to be. It's like a little butterfly, but it has a choice. No, it's like a caterpillar, but it has a choice. It's like a fat little grub, and then it's allowed to choose. It doesn't even have to be a butterfly if it doesn't want to. It can go into that cocoon and turn into a lion if it wants. Yeah. What else is there in it? I'm not really sure, but you get the gist. It's going to be amazing when, not if. And all of this I want to do because the Sunshine Coast has... Well, I say this about everything, everyone and every place, but I especially know it for the Sunshine Coast, and I might be biased, but we have so much potential that isn't getting tapped into. Like, we have Kurt Jones from Coexist. Obviously, I'm going back to them again because I'm heavily invested and involved with them, but he's 20 years old, or 21 now, and he's got this nationwide grassroots... Actually, I'm not sure if it's grassroots, but nationwide non-profit doing beach cleanups, social hikes, social events, massive festivals like we just had on the coast with the Rising Up. Like, there's Briley and Bella doing the Nets Out Now. There's Lauren Green, who's doing another eco-village, but she's going down to Byron, but still, she's on the coast for now, and she's doing workshops about wildlife and native fauna and flora. And, like, I haven't even touched the surface. These are just the ones that I know off the top of my head. There are all these more experienced people as well, and there's all these people just working by themselves. And obviously, the different causes need different expertise and different resources. But guys, if we work together, imagine how much we could create. If we pooling resources, like, it's a proven strategy to sustain big groups. Because you can, like, say for a co-housing community, you can share the same kitchen, you can share the same laundry, you can share the same backyard, the same garden, the same crops, which means, well, except for the crops, it means that you just have to buy one of everything, or maybe two, but that's compared to 4 or 5, because not everyone's going to be using them all the time, and when they are both in use, that could be for multiple families at once. So that applies to all resources, and also just the sharing of information, the crossover knowledge that could come from some random permaculture guy and help out the Nets Out Now protests and get the shark nets out because of some loophole in the law. I don't know, but gosh, there is so much potential, and it's so vibrant and beautiful, but it's all separated, and it's like the divide and conquer thing. That's why nothing, like, disruptive and significant is happening. Like, yeah, we are making progress, and cool things are happening, good things are happening, but it's all within the confines of what the elite actually want to happen, or allow to happen. They may not want it to happen, but if it doesn't really affect them that much, affect their profits and affect their agenda, then they'll let it happen. But it's not going to disrupt and create a world where people and planet come before profit. And that's actually where the Poppyfield name came from. It was originally called Reversing Poppy, and Poppy was an acronym for profit over people, planet, and youth. And so obviously reversing that, because people put profit over pretty much everything these days, and it's just mind-numbing, and I couldn't think of anything more boring than trying to get a promotion and get, like, a penthouse or something. My God. Shut up. But yeah, I want to build community, I want to build collaboration, I want to build action, intention, socializing. I just want an oasis. Sunshine Coast can be an oasis. and then we can have ripple effects throughout the entire world, because it's only going to scale, and I'm never going to stop trying to think larger and larger. So, go Poppy Field Project. Now, the second quote. Vision without action is merely a dream. Action without vision just passes time. Vision with action can change the world. I think we know where this is going. But right now, I'm doing stuff. I'm not just talking about the Poppy Project. I haven't just made a website, which I have made a website, by the way. But I've not just done that. I'm out there volunteering, networking, trying to do stuff, because I really want this to happen, and it will happen. And so what I've done is I've contacted some local farms on the Sunshine Coast, and I've asked them, well, originally I asked them, do you have any produce that you want me to sell at the Sunshine Coast markets? All the different ones there are, there's like 12 of them or something. And I got 2 replies from that, but I also asked them if there's anything else I can do, like volunteering on the farm, and 2 more replied to that as well. So I've got some volunteering on farms, but I've also got some opportunities to actually sell farm produce at markets. And I'm really excited about this, because that means that I have a purpose to be at the market, and I'll be making some sort of money, not myself, but I'll be making money which I can then pay off the market stall cost, because it costs like $60 or thereabouts. So I can take that off the revenue and then just give everything else back to the farms. So they'll be making money, I'll be getting a place to promote the poppy field, and I get to talk to people all day. So it's just great, and the farms have to do absolutely nothing except pick the produce, which they already do. So I'll just take it off their hands, and boom, bada boom, bada bing. We're all done. But yeah. I'm also volunteering with the Greens, which are an Australian political party. They're absolutely great. Everyone has very floral opinions of them. There's very negative things that people have said, and very positive things, and I overall see them as a good thing. I'm not sure if they would work as Prime Minister. I think that might... I don't think they have everything they need to be at that level of government, but having them in seats of power across the region, across Queensland especially, is very, very important, because they do stand up for the environment and they do think about the bigger picture. So I'm volunteering with them at the pre-polling stations at the moment, because the state election for Queensland is coming up on the 26th, which is this Saturday. So I'm looking forward to that. And I've also applied for a job at the SCEC, which is the Sunshine Coast Environmental Council. They sent out an email the other day about needing leaders and managers across their organisation. So I applied because, guess what? I want to be a leader or well, no, not a manager, but I want to be a leader in some form. And on top of that, I've started a diploma at TAFE in leadership and management. And I got that email after I signed up for that course, so it was kind of crazy thank you universe moment. So that was awesome. I've printed out stickers, I've made posters. I'm trying to use as little paper as I can, so I'm not printing out flyers to hand out, because then you have to print out tons and tons. So I've just printed out 1 copy of each of my flyers, and I've laminated them, so I can just show them to people instead of handing them out and wasting all that paper. And with the stickers, that's just a temporary thing, and I don't know if I'm going to do more of them, but they've got QR codes, so anyone and everyone can scan them. So I'm happy about that. It's really cool. And, guess what? For all you little artists out there, digital artists especially, we've got a logo and art contest for the Poppyfield project. It's on the website, which will be in the show notes for this episode. And you can join, have a look at the details and what you need to submit, but you can design a logo for the Poppyfield and certain promotional art, and then I think on December 4th the entries close, and I'll put it out to the public to vote for who has the most fitting. It's not the best. Everyone is subjective, but the most fitting logo and the most consensus logo. So that's awesome. There's prizes, $150 in cash, 2 pieces of Poppy Field merch, and something else, but I forgot. But yeah, so about this diploma. I've started it at TAFE, and right now we're doing emotional intelligence, which is awesome, because I love analysing people, as you might see from past episodes. So that's really great, and it teaches you how to use that in leadership. So everything is kind of just marrying up like it always does somehow. And I'm really happy about that. Now, to quote 6. I don't think I've said 5 quotes though. Whoops, hold on. Let's go back. Oh, okay, I missed Obama's quote and Eleanor Roosevelt's quote. Alright, hold on. By Eleanor Roosevelt. The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. I used to have this on the website. It's just one of the best quotes ever, in my opinion. And it's so true, and it's so motivating. It's just the people who believe that they can do what they want to do will be the ones that end up doing what they want to do. The ones who don't, of course they're not going to accomplish it. If they doubt themselves, they're going to lower their chances. But the people who fully commit to it and know and manifest, not just think about it but actually work towards it, they're going to make the amazing things in the world. And by Barack Obama, in order to build a better future, we must participate in shaping it. This is kind of like the first quote, but you need to be part of the change. You can't just leave it up to everyone else. It's like the tragedy of the commons. If it's everyone's responsibility, it's no one's responsibility, apparently. But the way you have to approach it is, if it's everyone's responsibility, it's your responsibility. You need to take on the weight of responsibilities in a capacity that you can handle. Obviously, don't take on all of climate change just for yourself. That's not going to work, obviously. But you need to play a part in doing something towards it, if that's what you want. If you don't want to save the climate, sure, lay back and let other people do it. But it's going to happen. And it probably should happen, otherwise we're going to die. So, go figure. Quote 5. Leadership is not about being in charge. It is taking care of those in your charge. Sorry, I kind of struggled with that one, but that's by Simon Sinek. And I've got all these leadership quotes on my wall now. I've got motivational quotes, motivational sentences that I just came up with, and motivational photos, which I've chosen specifically in relation to my goals. So I came up with a list of 10 goals, and then I got 12 pictures for every goal, and there's stuff like leadership, team, eco community, positive influence, public speaking. So I've got all these pictures of people doing those things, and the quotes around them they're quite intense because I'm an intense person. Because, these are the things that I want, so I shouldn't be doing it in a lackluster way. Maybe that's just me not being able to comprehend another way, but I really want these things. They're really big things to want, and I want to do them at the absolute peak level I can. So I have to do it in an intense way, and I'm fine with that. I love doing things intensely. I feel everything intensely. Good and bad, sadly, but happily. I just love intensity, especially of light. Oh, did you know? I'm pretty sure I can hear light. This is so not relevant, but I've always had a small bit of tinnitus, and it's always there. I've just learned to tune it out. But I've noticed lately, because I don't really know what it was, but the other night I was listening to the tinnitus, like I was being conscious of it, and my phone was off. I was just laying in bed, and then my phone turned on because I got a message, and the bright light, and I had like a whitish background, so the bright light was really bright, and all of a sudden my tinnitus got so much worse. And it's not like, because there's a muscle in your ear, and when you yawn, it tenses and it makes a rumbling sound, but it wasn't that. I tested it over and over, and every time my phone turned on, like I was exposed to bright light, it just got so much worse, and then I could hear it dull down when I turned my phone off. So I might just be absolutely loopy, and I have searched it up, and you can't hear electromagnetic radiation, obviously, because that's just not what sound is. But maybe it's like, well, not maybe, this is just a hypothetical, but it could be like my mind is crisscrossing signals from my visual and audible stimuli, and then so I'm hearing light. But that is a wild guess, but it's pretty cool. Yeah. Hold on. Oh yeah, so I'm going to an event next week. Something about change businesses. I'm pretty sure it's about sustainable business networking on the sunny coast. That's awesome. It's not much of a event, but I mean, it's not much of a momentous occasion for me, but I don't know, it might be interesting. The capacity to learn is a gift. The ability to learn is a skill. The willingness to learn is a choice. Brian Herbert. Everyone can learn. To what level, that differs. And to what amount they can learn, that also differs. But that's just, for the most part, I'm not saying you can't, but for the most part, that's innate. That's just in your DNA. But choosing to learn and to learn how to learn is so much more powerful than any birth talent. Wanting to and having curiosity while learning and being excited to know more and more about yourself and others and science and math and, unfortunately, English. Those people are the ones that just skyrocket. So thank you, Brian Herbert. Well, I have a couple last things. One is that with this busy schedule of TAFE and Greens volunteering and hopefully soon to be SEC work and podcast and my own personal stuff, like golf on Sunday with the boys. That's a thing now. I play golf. It's pretty fun. The golf courses absolutely ruin the environment, so I'm not overly happy about that, but it's not like they're going to be shutting down anytime soon, and I'm doing other work, so I think that's a bit of cognitive dissonance, and I'm making excuses, but it's the one time a week I get to hang out with all my friends, so go easy on me, okay? Okay? But, yes, with this busy schedule, and also having to drive my sister to work and stuff, my god, but with this busy schedule, I needed something to organise it, and something more than just calendar, like Google Calendar. It's not much more, but it does help me a lot, and that is UseMotion. This is not sponsored at all. That is a dream beyond dreams, but I don't actually think it's called UseMotion, it's just Motion, but it's a scheduling and project and task management app, and it's got a calendar feature, which I love, and it uses AI to structure your week, so you can give all your different tasks and to-dos different like levels of importance. I don't know what they use, but so it'll prioritize the ones that are very important, and then the ones that aren't important it'll leave to later in the week, and it's just so helpful because it's AI, so it can put all these tasks at the right time and base it on what you need to do, what you want to do. It's beautiful. So I recommend downloading that. It does cost a little bit. I don't think I'm paying for it yet. I think I'm still on a free trial, but I'll start paying for it soon. But it's so helpful, and it has a widget for your phone. I love widgets. It's so beautiful, and it lets me see what I have to be doing next throughout the day. It lets me see what I have to get done and what I have to tick off. So I personally love it. I'm not going to love paying, and apparently it's quite pricey, but maybe it's worth it. Maybe I'll just go back to Google Calendar. But I recommend having a look at it. It's beautiful. When we strive to become better than we are, everything around us becomes better too. That is beautiful. Thank you, Paulo Coelho. When you try to be better, it can sometimes be a bit counterproductive because you're trying to prove to yourself that you're better. And being presented as a better person isn't being a better person. Like, people seeing that you're a better person doesn't mean you've changed at all. Not saying you're a bad person in the first place, but if you want to be better than your previous self, you actually have to be consistently and habitually better. You can't just put on a facade, if you know what I mean. And you can't always... you have to get to the point where you're not even giving yourself credit for it. Because then you're genuinely a better person. Because, like, you can always be grateful to yourself and appreciate yourself. That's awesome. But if you're only doing it for that, then I don't know, it's like that, is there any true selfless act? Because even when the person doesn't know it was you, you don't get any recognition, you're still feeling good about yourself, and that's not a bad thing. It just can't be the sole reason, is what I'm trying to say. You just need to do it because that's you, and you're beautiful. There was a book I was listening to, well, that doesn't make sense. There was an audio book I was listening to on Audible, and it was called The More Beautiful World Our Hearts Know Is Possible. It's an amazing book. It's something that you can't just read once, or listen to once in my case, sorry. It's packed, absolutely packed full of stuff, so much mind-bending and, beautiful content. It's written by a guy called Charles Eisenstein, and he was crazy. Like, he sounds like Einstein with his last name, but I swear he actually was a genius as well. He was so objective in his opinions. He presented everything amazingly. He critiqued himself over and over and over. The way that the book is written, it's like it semi-breaks the fourth wall, because it's not a novel. It's more like an essay, but it's so magnetic. It just pulls you in and you just want to keep listening. So if you are into bigger ideas, like the bigger picture, philosophy, politics, economics, society as a whole, definitely give it a listen. It's amazing, and it's something that you'll have to listen to multiple times to fully comprehend, because I definitely didn't comprehend it. For some parts, I would listen to something he said, I'd get really interested, then I'd go off on my own tangent in my head, and then I'd tune back in and be talking about something else interesting. So then I'd go back out and do another tangent. Too much. But I'll give it another go and try and get it. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, it does, Lao Tzu. The Poppyfield Project and all of these things I want to do is such a massive task. Right now I'm doing all of it by myself. I don't want to be, I'm trying not to be, I'm talking to as many people as I want, but that doesn't change the reality that at the moment it is just me. And it can seem daunting, and there are a lot of people who will laugh at, it's funny, because I never thought I'd be able to say this, but there's people who just laugh at your ideas because you're so ambitious and you're so eager to tell people, but you're not old enough, or you're not experienced enough, or you're not knowledgeable enough, or you're just not good enough in their eyes. And obviously that doesn't matter, but it can still be disheartening when people just shoot you down. The people that want to help, they'll ask you questions and they'll dissect it, and they'll give you feedback, and hopefully they'll heavily critique you so that you get it right. But the ones that just don't give a fuck, and just, especially the ones that don't even believe in the whole principle of the project, like for the Poppy project, if they just don't see a sustainable community as a necessity for the future, they'll just be like, what? Oh, okay, that's kind of hippie. Shut up. But yeah, sorry. But yeah, it can be disheartening, but you just gotta be a tough mofo. That's me, tough mofo. It's not actually that hard, but for some people it can be, and it doesn't matter if it's 30 centimeters or 30 meters of water. Drowning is drowning. It's all relative. We've all got individual experiences. We've all come from different backgrounds, different history. Some of us had parents, some of us had children for parents, but some of us had abusive parents. Some of us had CEOs as parents. Some of us had drug addicts for parents. And that all changes us. I didn't have any of them, by the way, don't worry. But if you did, I hope you're okay. I'm not trying to be your therapist, but yeah. Just stay strong, mofo. And that is where we come to an end. Oh my god. I don't know if I said 37 or 38, but it's 38 now. So I love you. Please listen to the episode. Rate us on Spotify, or me on Spotify. 5 stars is all I'm accepting. Maybe lower if you actually didn't like the episode. But thank you very much. I've got another episode coming out later this week about the 5-factor model of personality traits. That's amazing, and I've learned about it in TAFE as well, so it's kind of fitting. The 5-factor model has to do with 5 personality traits that everyone has differing levels of, and it helps. It's actually what the 16 personality type test is based on, like where you're an engineer or an analyst or a leader or protagonist, blah blah blah. That's what it's based on, and it tells you so much about a person. And if you know their levels to each of these, you can support them and work with them and help them. And if you really want, you can manipulate them. Don't do that though. But yeah, so look forward to that episode. It'll probably be coming out Sunday. Today is Wednesday. I love you. Peace out. I used to say peace out, woman, in school. Oh, I went to 39. No. But yeah, adios. I love you.